Hello again. So in the last video I talked about the general overview of how the whole system works for the live streaming engineering. This time I'm going to walk you through how I actually set up the programs to do the video aspect of all of this and show you what it looks like on my desktop. A warning that I'm not actually going to tell you how any of these programs really work in depth. You'll have to look each one of them up separately on the internet. Instead, I'm going to focus just on how they talk to each other to make the whole video flow work. So to remind you, here's the diagram of the complete setup. For video, we're getting the feed from Zoom, capturing it using CamTwist, providing visual effects using Isadora, and then sending it to OBS to be streamed. On my computer, I have two monitors. I'm going to use the left one for Zoom and CamTwist, and the right one for Isadora and OBS, as well as all of the audio stuff. It's important because I'm doing screen capture not to accidentally drag everything on top of the Zoom screen, so I want to use a dedicated monitor for the Zoom feed just to make sure the capture works. Okay, here's my left monitor. Right now I've put the dock on the left monitor. I'll move it to the right monitor later. The first thing I'm going to do is start the Apple Activity Monitor because that will let me look later and see whether I'm overloading my machine. Now I start Zoom and join the meeting. Right here I'm just creating a new meeting with only myself in it, but really I would be joining the real meeting. Here's my Zoom window. I'm going to stick it in the upper left, and that's where I'm going to capture it. Note that I am not joining the audio, but I am joining the video, and there I am. So Zoom is really great for video calls, but one annoying thing about the software is that they make it really hard for you to capture the output of the screen. I used to be able to send it more directly into other programs, but these days I find I need to use a helper program just to capture the video. I'm going to be using CamTwist, which is a program that basically does screen capture. So let's set that up. What CamTwist does is take video from a video source and send it to a Syphon output. I'll describe Syphon later, but basically the video source you want is called desktop. There's also a desktop plus video source that's supposedly able to handle individual windows, but it doesn't seem to work with Zoom because Zoom uses some non-standard something or other. So select desktop, and then you see under saved setups that I've actually set it up already and saved it as something called Zoom capture so I could get it easily. And then on the right hand side, I'm going to deselect full screen and choose resizable selection, then click select capture area to bring up a rectangle that will determine what part of the screen will be captured by CamTwist. The monitor here is a 1080p monitor, but when we do our live streams we generally use 720p. So what I actually want to do is select a portion of the screen that's the same size as a 720p monitor would be, which is 1200 or so pixels by 720 pixels. So I need to select a rectangle for CamTwist to capture that's the right size and then resize my Zoom window to match. I mentioned Syphon before. Syphon, which is spelled with a Y, is a piece of Mac software that lets you route video from one application to another. I need to use it a couple times, once to route the video from CamTwist into Isadora, and then again to route the video out of Isadora into OBS. It lets you route the video directly using your video card. The video doesn't have to float around in your main memory, so it's relatively efficient. And the way Syphon works is that you set up the output application as a Syphon server, and then the input application where the video is supposed to flow into is a Syphon client, and usually will give you an option of selecting the server you want it to listen to. So we set up CamTwist as a Syphon server, and then in Isadora we will select CamTwist as the server that we want to listen to. And then Isadora is itself a Syphon server, and in OBS we also have a Syphon client, and we select Isadora as the server that we want it to listen to, and then everything flows through. Okay, so let's set up Isadora. Isadora is a very powerful video processing environment that lets you do all sorts of fun things with your video stream. All that we're going to do in this particular case is play with the colors a little bit. So you might ask why we need such a heavyweight program to do something so trivial. The answer is that in the long run we have big plans. Hopefully we can do some interesting video effects that will improve the audience's experience of our live streams by adding a visual component to the audio one. So by setting up Isadora, we give ourselves the flexibility to do that sort of thing later. I'm going to double click on my Isadora file to open it, and when it opens you'll see that there are 4 blocks connected from left to right. The first one receives the video from CamTwist, the next one is an edge detection algorithm, the next one is a video delay because I was experimenting with trying to sync up the video and the audio better, and the last one is a projector which sends the data out to be received by OBS. Let's note a few things about these blocks. The Syphon receiver block has a drop-down that lets you select which server to receive from. We're using CamTwist. The edge detection and video delay blocks currently have bypass on, which means that they're not being used. We'll turn them on later. And finally, the projector is set to send to a particular virtual stage. If we open up the stage setup window, we see this virtual stage. It's set to 1280 by 720 because that's the streaming size that we're going to be using. And you see that it has a little picture of me coming through. Down at the bottom, we've checked the Syphon checkbox, which causes Isadora to make this stage available as a Syphon server that OBS can then read. To make sure that everything's working right, we can go to Show Stages, and that will cause Isadora to show the little preview of the stage, and you see me flowing from Zoom through CamTwist to Isadora. Okay, so finally we're ready to start OBS. And look, there I am, flowing all the way through. The way it works is, I'm running a scene called Isadora Syphon, which is composed of 2 OBS sources. The Syphon client source takes its Syphon input from the Isadora virtual stage, and then there's a BlackHole source which will handle the audio that we'll get to in another video. Okay, so hopefully that gives you a basic idea of how the video flow works. In the next video, I'm going to take a look at how to check the performance of your computer and make sure Isadora isn't overloading it. And then after that, we'll look at the audio aspects. And as always, subscribe to our channel to get more videos.